What's up, my fellow gamers out there? Well, TimeSplitters 2 is considered one of the best shooters game on PlayStation 2. I heard a lot of people are praising it. They say that it's a must play, it's a masterpiece, it's the best shooter on PS2. And I was like, okay, I'm going to put on my backlog, and when the time comes, I'm going to play it. Well, the time came, and I played it. I don't know which one you would like to hear first, the good news or the bad news. Well, obviously it's a stupid question because unfortunately you cannot answer it because this is not a live video. But I'm going to go as I would if anybody would ask this question. I want to hear the bad news first. Alright, the bad news first. This game is rage inducing. It's going to test your patience in the worst way. It's just you want to throw the controller into the TV and just want to throw the disc into the bin and just forget about the whole game. Okay, this was the bad news. But what the good news are? This is really a solid game. It has really cool time traveling aspect. The enemies are not dumb, and it's just a good game. But it's really going to test your patience because of the checkpoint system. Alright, I went ahead of myself, so just start from the beginning, let me gather my thoughts, and let's start the video. TimeSplitters 2 was born in 2002 at Free Radical Design, a studio created by former Rare developers who previously worked on GoldenEye 007 and Perfect Dark. In other words, these were the people behind two of the most important console shooters ever made. Their goal wasn't to follow the rising trend of realism and military simulation. Instead, they doubled down on fast-paced, high-energy arcade action. You can feel that DNA immediately. The game isn't concerned with realism or tactical depth. It's more like an explosive FPS roller coaster that jumps through time just because it can. One mission you are fighting in Chicago, the next you are in a cyberpunk Tokyo, and suddenly you are in a robot base in the year 2400. The vibe is chaotic in the best possible way. And back then, it was refreshing. Consoles were still figuring out dual-stick aiming, most FPS games were clunky, and TimeSplitters 2 came in hot, smooth, creative, and stylish. When TimeSplitters 2 launched, critics absolutely loved it. Reviewers praised it for everything from its tight controls to its enormous mission variety. It was fast, colorful, clever, and filled with personality at a time when a lot of shooters were still stuck in wannabe military realism. Players especially loved the sense of fun. It didn't take itself too seriously. And I felt this somehow from the beginning of the game. The character animations in the cutscenes have a cartoonish vibe. The game has cowboy shootouts and futuristic labs, all wrapped in a perfectly chaotic Saturday morning cartoon mixed with an FPS energy. Magazines gave it glowing scores. Many declared it one of the best shooters of that console generation. And its local multiplayer mode instantly became legendary, turning countless living rooms into war zones. So yeah, this game had massive hype around it. And now let's fast forward to today and see what was my experience playing it fresh without the early 2000 nostalgia clouding anything. I want to start with the positives, because believe me, they are real. Some levels have genuinely fantastic atmosphere. The rainy, neon-soaked streets of Neo Tokyo immediately pulled me in with their music, visual style and cinematic vibe. Even after all these years, that level feels incredibly cool and stylish. The kind of stage you expect from a cyberpunk movie that never got made. The overall variety of the game is also a huge strength. Every mission takes you to a new time period with different characters, themes and goals. One moment you are infiltrating a dam, the next you are sneaking to a Wild West town. It keeps things fresh and unpredictable in a way modern shooters rarely try anymore. And when TimeSplitters 2 hits its stride, when the action is flowing and the music is pumping, you can absolutely see why people fell in love with it and why it still holds up today in many ways. But then, reality hits hard. The first thing that hit me was the manual aim. It was way too sensitive, almost jittery. You lightly touch the stick and your crosshair jumps like it drank 3 energy drinks. I tried adjusting the settings, but it never felt truly right. Always just a bit too twitchy to comfortably rely on. Most of the times I'm not used to this, so it was not a game-breaking issue for me. The only time when it annoyed me when I used the sniper rifle. And there comes the true villain of this story, the checkpoint system. Whoever designed these checkpoints must have been in a bad mood because they are spaced out like they run out of budget for them. Some missions have only 1 or 2, others have none at all. Yes, you heard that right. And the bonus is boss fights often start with no nearby checkpoint, meaning every death sends you crawling back to the beginning of a huge section of the whole level. Okay, to be fair, boss fights are not that bad, but still. This checkpoint system, it kills the pacing completely. Not because the game is hard, the difficulty is actually fine, but because the punishment for failure is so brutally out of proportion. Instead of try again, the game essentially says, okay, cool, do the whole level again. From the start, you're welcome. This is the kind of design that makes players give up entirely, and honestly, I don't blame them. There were several points where I thought, alright, I've seen enough for today. But it's at the same time I still wanted to continue and I want to finish the game, so it's very strange experience. Another thing that shows its age is weapon management. Switching weapons requires you to scroll through them one by one, instead of quickly selecting what you want. It feels clunky in a fast-paced shooter, especially when you are in the middle of chaos and need that shotgun now. Not after flipping past 3 times items you don't need. But to be fair, this is what we've seen in all of the FPS games in this era, so I'm not making this as a complaint, just a note. As for the story, well, technically there is a story. You play as 2 time-traveling marines chasing alien creatures called TimeSplitters across different eras, but each mission feels completely isolated with its own character, tone and plot. The connective tissue is very thin. If you are expecting a big overarching narrative explaining why you are hopping all over history, the game doesn't really deliver one. To be honest, this was a bit disappointing for me, and I know that we are not playing FPS games for the stories, but still. And this is only bothers me probably because I really love time travel and alternate related stories. Now let's talk about the part of TimeSplitters 2 that genuinely made its reputation, the multiplayer. Local multiplayer in this game was legendary for a reason. It was fast, smooth and insanely customizable. You could tweak almost everything: character rosters, weapon sets, bots, game modes, objectives. It was the kind of couch multiplayer madness that modern gaming has almost forgotten. Even today, if you fire this up with friends, it still holds up surprisingly well. The speed, the personality, the absurdity, it all still feels fun. This is where the game truly shines, and where that masterpiece label makes the most sense. Playing solo is fine, playing multiplayer is where it becomes magic. And there is the MapMaker, TimeSplitters level editor. This thing was ridiculously ambitious for its time. Players could design their own layouts, set up spawn points, choose teams, even create simple objectives. Back in 2002, the idea of making your own FPS levels directly on a console was mind-blowing, and honestly, I think it still is. Nowadays, it feels basic, but that doesn't diminish how important it was. For a lot of people, the MapMaker alone added hundreds of hours of replay value. And honestly, this creative tool is part of the reason the franchise still has such a loyal cult following. So, where does TimeSplitters 2 stand today? Well, fans still defend it fiercely, partly because of nostalgia, but also because the game has a very specific charm that nothing has replaced since. Its sense of humor, wide creativity, frantic pace and local multiplayer magic still resonate with players who grew up with it. But new players often struggle. The stiff aiming, harsh checkpoint system and outdated mechanics create a steep barrier to enjoying the game as much as people did more than 20 years ago. It's not that the game became bad, it's that gaming evolved in ways TimeSplitters 2 never anticipated. Alright, and now let's see the main question of this video. Should you play TimeSplitters 2? Yes, definitely, give it a try. As I said, this is a solid game, but has its own problems. And I see why people love it and call this as a masterpiece. For myself, I really struggled playing with it because I don't mind the challenge, and I don't mind when a game gives you like difficult situations, but when I just nearly finished the mission, and I was just nearly at the end of the stage, and there was no checkpoint on that level, and I died or I messed up one of the level goals and I had to start over again. It just felt that the squeeze doesn't work the juice. So it's like, as much as I enjoyed it, playing it, it just, I really had to push myself just to start the stage again. And eventually I did, because when it's good, it's really good. The atmosphere, the different levels, and the whole game experience is good. It's just a bit rough for me. But it's just my experience. And I see a lot of people are playing it on hard difficulty, doing challenges, and they're really enjoying it. So it's just because I'm not really a big fan of it doesn't mean it's a bad game. So definitely give it a try, because you might going to enjoy it, and you're gonna say, oh, it is a good game, and it's absolutely fine. So yes, definitely don't skip TimeSplitters 2, and let me know how you enjoyed it. Thanks for joining me on this trip back to the golden age of gaming. If you love unearthing forgotten classics or even the disasters, we got plenty more adventures ahead. So press start and subscribe to join the quest. The algorithm has dug up a couple of more relics for you. They are right here on the screen waiting to be discovered. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next Battle Quest video.